What is up, guys? Player One Gaming here, and I am back making a video on Michigan football again. Yeah, I don't do this a whole lot. I want to be better in 2020 with videos. Hopefully, I am. I don't know. I said that last year, and I just really slacked off. Um, but here I am. This is the third time I'm doing it. I did a video for 2018 Michigan football. Did a video last year for 2019. And I'm doing 2020, so I'm continuing the cycle. Gonna give you my predictions. Hopefully I think this video might be better than the other ones though, because my other videos I don't seem very prepared for, and people see through it. So I tried to prepare myself a little bit better, and let's just get through these games in my honest opinion. Actually, so first game of the season on the road against Washington. This is not a good way to start out the season, especially with a new quarterback. Now, they are getting a new quarterback as well, and a new head coach. So, how's Washington been? Last year, they went 8-5, and they are, they beat Boise State in a bowl game. They lose their head coach and their starting QB. But you know how Michigan is. This reminds me a lot of the 2018 season. Starting out, big road game against Notre Dame, ends up losing a close one with a quarterback who didn't look very good. I feel like that's sort of gonna be the case here. I'm not sure why. Washington will likely be ranked. And Michigan is very good at losing road games against ranked opponents. I see it being a close loss and us getting some points, but not looking good in the process, really. And I don't know who starts for Michigan. I don't know if we start McCaffrey or if we start Milton. I don't know. I say we start McCaffrey, or we alternate between the two. I don't know. Maybe we'll see it in the spring game how much better they are. That's not till April though. Until we can see how these guys really do, like for a longer period of time, more than a few plays, because we have seen glimpses of them. They've each, had their pros. They've looked good. They've also looked bad in some places, but that just comes with getting better. Yeah, I see this being a loss, a close loss, like a 27-20 kind of thing, or like a 7-point loss. I see it as a game where they're winning and we come back, and it's sort of like the Penn State game, and we just don't have enough to come back. So yeah, I could really honestly be wrong, but Michigan is very good at losing to ranked opponents on the road. And I don't know why. I feel like this game will be at night for some reason. I really feel like this game will be a night game for some weird reason. These games like to be, games like this always seem to be at night. I hate night games. But I see us losing here. Let me know what you think, because this is kind of a hard one for me. But I ended up choosing, thinking that we're going to lose this game. And going on to the second game against Ball State, this sort of reminds me again of the 2018 season, losing to Notre Dame in a big game in Week 1 in the 2018 season. Coming back the next week, quarterback didn't look good. Coming back the next week, and destroying Western Michigan. This is sort of Ball State's sort of going to be the new Western Michigan, I think. Now, this should honestly be maybe not our easiest game on the schedule, but definitely one of them. This should just, honestly, it just should be a win. There's no reason to lose this game. It should be really easy. They usually don't have an offense ranked, inside the top 100. I see this being a big win here. and whoever's our quarterback. I see both of our quarterbacks getting time in this game and both looking very good. This is going to be one of those kinds of games. So I see this being our easiest game until maybe Rutgers or Maryland or something. So yeah, win here, big win, like a 49-7 kind of thing. That's my honest opinion. Arkansas State is also at home. Arkansas State is definitely better than Ball State. It still should be a win though. So they are better than Ball State. Their coach Blake Anderson has led the team to a 47-30 record in 6 seasons, so he's done pretty good for them. But against Power 5 teams, they're 0-8, 0-8, and they're outscored by an average of 30 points. That seems likely in this game that they will be losing by a good 30 points. I'm just saying they're not a pushover by any stretch. They're not a pushover at all. They're not a game. They're not a throwaway game. They're not a we're very obviously the better team, and as long as we're focused, like we should be for every game, we should dominate. It's as simple as that. So win here, 2-1 through September 19th. Wisconsin, this is at home. That's always a good thing. First thing to think about with Wisconsin, they're losing Jonathan Taylor. That's a huge loss right there. Though they are losing Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin seems to always replace running backs, and like nothing happens. It's just like a rotation. They always have great running backs. Jonathan Taylor seems like he's been there forever. He's finally going to the NFL. I'm happy for him. I hope he's successful, because even though I'm not a Wisconsin fan, I do enjoy watching Jonathan Taylor. I mean, if you're a college football fan, any person would enjoy watching him, just because of how good he really is. So they lose Jonathan Taylor, but they are returning a very good offensive line, one that really did dominate Michigan last year. But I don't see them having the firepower that they had in 2019. I just don't see it. Especially losing Jonathan Taylor is one big thing, but it's gonna be a big question mark on if this guy can fill in the shoes as much as Jonathan Taylor. That's a lot of big shoes to fill right there. So we'll see if this guy can do it. I can't remember his name now. See, I already forget things. But yeah, they should have an offensive line back that is very good and dominated last year. I see Michigan being a little bit more prepared. It's a home game. We usually win against them at home. The last, 2 times I believe we've played them at home. We won 2016, we won 14-7. 2018, we won 38-13. It's just been trading back and forth, the home team winning. Sort of like Penn State until 2019, just like Michigan and Penn State. They're sort of trading wins. So there's that. I see Michigan being way more prepared, and this being more of a offensive game in a way. I see both offenses being stronger than the defenses. I know. I honestly see Michigan's offense, if not this year, next year, or the year after that, for at least the next few years, I see Michigan's offense being better than the defense, which would be very odd because you don't see that a whole lot. 2019, the offense was not better than the defense. I'm sorry. Wisconsin, though, at home, I know that doesn't always make a difference, but there's only like 2 teams that really can beat us, when we're at home against, and that's Ohio State, obviously, and Michigan State. I mean, they've been, Michigan State, what was it last time? They've beaten us. Michigan State has beaten us at home, and Ohio State has beaten us every year. So, yeah, Wisconsin's not one of those teams. I see this being a very close win for Michigan, sort of a 24-21 kind of thing. So that's what I see with this game. Michigan getting a very close win, but it could go either way. So I think at this point, I'm being generous, honestly, 3-1 by the end of September. The start of October, we're at home for the fourth game in a row against Penn State. Okay, so Penn State, Sean Clifford is coming back. They should have a pretty good defense, even though they are replacing Gross Madhouse and I can't remember the other guy's name now. Anyway, they're losing two great players on defense. Even their offense should be very good. Though that is the case, Penn State was a very unimpressive, 11-win team last year, or 10-win team, or however many games they won. Very unimpressive. Top 10 team, top 15 team. I still think that if Michigan and Penn State played each other again, Michigan would have won the game. That's my opinion. I still think that we were the slightly better team and that we just didn't get our crap together in time. Michigan and Penn State has been, again, one of those games where they're trading wins. I think that stops. I think that continues. Michigan wins here. They are at home. I don't think it'll be a dominant win like the 2016 or 2018 seasons where we won 49-10 in 2016, 42-7 in 2018. I think it'll be a little bit closer, but I think Michigan will win by 10. What would that be? Like 31-21 or something like that? Maybe 35-24, or something like that. That's what I see. I think that they won't be as good as people think they will, and I don't think that they'll be as good as Wisconsin. So that's my opinion on that. And I think we're going to win this game. 4-1 at this point. I know people are going to be yelling at me for this, but that's going to happen anyway. All right. At Michigan State. Michigan State is not on a good path right now. Now, it is at home for them. Jim Harbaugh, though, is 2-0 in East Lansing. Now, Michigan State is losing their top 5 players on defense. And, their defense was obviously very much their strong suit in 2019. Only finished 20th nationally at the end of it. Now they got it. Not only do they have to replace their top 5 players on defense, they also have to revamp an offense that ranked 95th nationally in 2019. And then on top of that, they have to replace Mark D'Antonio, who literally yesterday, at the time of this recording, yesterday, he basically retired from Michigan State. This should be, I don't know if it'll be like 2019 and it's a 44-10 victory, but I can see it being a 31-10 victory for Michigan. I think this will be the easiest game for Michigan when it comes to rivals. Our rivals are, Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, Minnesota. Michigan State should be the easiest one. This is not good. This is not good for Michigan State. Honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm not a Michigan State fan. I don't care. I think this is a win here for Michigan. Another big win. But I don't know. Maybe Michigan State will come out of nowhere and surprise us and, give us a hard time and we only win by like 7. I don't know. Maybe it'll be like 2016 and they do way better than we thought they should. Um, but I just don't see that happening. I see Michigan winning here and being 5-1 after losing week 1 to Washington. This is very much like the 2018 season. Minnesota. All right. This is definitely a trap game for sure. They had a very good 2019 season. PJ Fleck was without a doubt one of the best coaches of the year. Now, Minnesota does not recruit at a high level and, or at a super high level at least. So you wouldn't think that they, even after developing these guys that, that they would be that great. Or that maybe they would be, they'd be pretty good at beating bad teams, but they would not look as good as we thought they would look. The Penn State game, they won. That was, even though they were the underdog, I don't think anyone was really surprised. Penn State was very unimpressive. Minnesota was very impressive. And in 2019, I should say. Now, again, it's another one of those things where it's a road game, and I think it's going to be a night game. I don't know why. I have this feeling that this game will be a night game. I believe the last time we played them, it was also a night game, and it was at home for us. Maybe not. I could be wrong on that. We did end up winning the last time. We have the Little Brown Jug right now. I think they're going to take it from us. I think this is where we get our second loss. I think it's very close. I think it's very high scoring. Maybe not really high scoring, but pretty high scoring. 38-35 or 35-31. Something like that. I see this being an ultimate trap game where they outcoach us. They don't necessarily have the talent that we have, but they've got talent good enough that can be coached good enough to win, and I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be very much like the Penn State game, and they're going to beat us when we can't afford it. So at this point, we got 2 losses, and the season is pretty much over for us. I mean, not really, but it is when it comes to anything like a Big Ten championship, which you have to win every game now to do. So, losing in the Big Ten on October 17th to Minnesota, and what I think will be a very highly anticipated night game on the road where Michigan will flounder and they will look good on offense, but the defense will not be able to come up big for us. And that's just what I think is going to happen. It seems I don't know what to tell you if you don't agree. I've been watching Michigan football long enough. This will be my 10th season watching. I started watching in 2010. I know that's not as long as a lot of other people, but I've been watching long enough to know how this team operates and just know how it works, and what their strong suits are and what they're not good at. And this is not one of those things. I feel like Minnesota might be ranked, or they will be ranked, honestly. I think they will be ranked, and it's going to be a trap game. It's going to be a trap game. See a loss here. Purdue. This is a home game. For us, this is our homecoming game, actually. Now, the Purdue finished 4-8 last year. Not very good. They had some bad injuries. They lost their quarterback for 8 games or 7 games. They lost Rondale Moore for 8 games. Now Rondale Moore is coming back. Their quarterback is not. Rondale Moore is going to be definitely dangerous. The most dangerous player on the team if he can stay healthy. It's gonna help Purdue a lot. But Michigan's at home. It's a homecoming game. Michigan's way more talented than Purdue is, and one guy is not going to help them. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. Michigan wins here, I would say, pretty dominantly. I would say it's going to be sort of like the Michigan-Wisconsin game 2018, like a 38-13, 38-14. I think it'll be a dominant win. So there's that. This video's gone on a really long time, so I'm going to try and hurry this up. So, finally have a bye week. Holy crap, we don't have a bye week until October 31st, Halloween Day. So, there's that. Maryland. The Maryland Terrapins. Now, they have a quarterback that started 4 games last year who's going to be their starter, Tyler DeSue. And Maryland signed a great wide receiver. I think he was ranked 27th nationally. He's a 5-star recruit. So they're going to have some... And they also return their top 3 wide receivers. They're good. So they should be pretty good when it comes to wide receivers and their top 2 rushers. So they should look pretty okay on offense. Of course, they don't recruit at a super high level. So these guys can only do so much, I'm assuming. And offensive line also is important, and they don't have a great offensive line, really. And another thing, which has been Maryland's definitely their weakness, and what is causing them to not win games is their defense. They will likely not have another good defense. They're going to have these great receivers. They're going to have these good rushers. They should have pretty decent players when it comes to that. Offensive line is a question. Defense is definitely not going to be as good. And I don't think the defense is going to be able to hold on. I don't think they're going to be able to hold down an offense that is, a powerhouse like a Michigan or a Penn State or an Ohio State. I don't think that they won't be able to stop offenses like that. Defenses will also not be stopped, no matter how good, their wide receivers are. I think this is another dominant win for Michigan. It is at home, coming off a bye week. It just doesn't bode well for Maryland. They don't have a break, really. So, win here for Michigan. Rutgers, at Rutgers. So, Greg Schiano's coming back. He was the coach at Rutgers from 2001 to 2011. And he was very good for them. Now, there's a difference. Rutgers was in the Big East from that time, which was a much different conference. The Big Ten is ruthless. Coaching in the Big Ten is ruthless. It's hard. There's a lot of really good teams that are always ranked every year. You're in the East, which is the hardest of all 3 of the East and West. You're in the East, which is the hardest of the 2. You've got Michigan, you got Ohio State, you got Penn State, Michigan State as well. You've got Indiana, who's getting better. And it's only his first season there. I think they might improve and get better, but I don't think, and they will not be at Michigan level, not even close. It's gonna be a dominant win for Michigan. You're not just gonna become the coach and then all of a sudden beat a team that beats you by an average of 43 points. It's just not gonna happen. So, win here for Michigan, big time. Indiana, another team who's getting better. Now, I've been hearing people say that last year's 2019 was Indiana's best chance at beating Michigan. And it makes sense, but because they did look pretty good last year, they won 7 games. In the end, they got dominated by Michigan. They've got a good enough defense to keep them in games with smaller teams. They can't keep up with the big dogs in the Big Ten though. They can't. They lose to teams like Ohio State. They lose to teams like Penn State. They lose to teams like Michigan every year, um, without fail. And 32nd season in a row with losing to Michigan. I mean, that's not good, especially when it's one of the worst losses you've had against them in many years. Michigan gets to play again at home. I mean, yeah, 2019 was your best chance. I mean, Michigan, the last two times playing there, struggled against Indiana, had to win in overtime. They got over the hump in 2019. You guys were looking very good last year. Better than usual at least. But it obviously was not. You weren't anywhere near as talented as Michigan is. You were in it for a little bit, but you just couldn't get anything going in the second half, and talent took over, and you couldn't get the job done again. And I think that will continue in 2020. Indiana's not a bad team at all, but they can't keep up with the big dogs in the Big Ten. They can't keep up with good teams, or great teams, I should say. Um, Teams like Michigan are just too fast for them, too good for them. And, I believe someday they will prove me wrong, but I've been watching, I will be watching Michigan football for the 10th year in a row in my life, and, yeah, I don't think anything really will change. I've never seen us lose to Indiana, but no one has for a very long time. 1987 was the last time that they got the win over Michigan. And I believe it's been even, and that was at Indiana, and it's probably been even longer since they've gotten the win at Michigan, which is where it's at this year. This is probably going to be another win for Michigan, most likely. So there's that. I should just end the video right now because you know what I'm going to say. If you've watched my last year's video, you know exactly what I'm going to say. I said it last year. I'm never predicting Michigan to win against Ohio State until they prove that they actually can beat them. Now, I don't think Ohio State will be as good as 2019, but that's not saying a whole lot because 2019 they were really freaking good. Really, really good. They returned Justin Fields, without a doubt going to be he's without a doubt going to be a Heisman candidate again, I think. And could honestly probably win it, if not for Jalen Hurts or a Tua. But I don't think, of course, Joe Burrow was obviously going to be the winner, without a doubt, and even Jalen Hurts. But I think even maybe his junior year, Justin Fields could win the Heisman and go on to the NFL. So they return him. I don't think Ohio State will be as good on defense as they were in 2019. But they're still going to be great. They're still going to be hard. They're still going to be tough to beat. I think Michigan will be able to score more points, but will end up allowing 40 or 50 against Ohio State. It's at Columbus. That's not good. It doesn't bode well for Michigan ever. I mean, it doesn't matter anyway. They beat us. They destroy us anyway. But being on the road never helps. Yeah, loss. 9-3. 9-3 is what I think Michigan will finish. 9-3, losing to Washington, Minnesota, and Ohio State. So we won't lose I don't think we'll lose a home game because it's at Washington, at Minnesota, and at Ohio State. This video is nearly 30 minutes long, but I had some things to say. Let me know what you think we're going to go. Do you think we're going to beat Minnesota and lose to Penn State or Wisconsin instead? Do you think we're going to go 10-2? Do you think we're going to go 11-1? Do you think we're going to go 9-3? Do you think we're going to go 7-5? Let me know. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think about Dylan McCaffrey or Joe Milton. How do you think they're going to look? New quarterback is always, scary. So we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.